In the upcoming episode, we will explore the second part of developmental stages of resilience research and theories from the perspectives of psychology and pedagogy. If you enjoy our content, please follow us on YouTube, like our videos, and share them with others to help us reach a wider audience. We also invite your comments and feedback. Thank you. In the second phase of her resilience research in the 1990s, the focus shifted from individual characteristics and mere descriptions of resilience to interpreting the interactions between individuals and their environments. This period emphasized the significance of protective factors and their mechanisms of action. Researchers became increasingly interested in how various systems that support development function, which brought the roles of the individual's environment, family, community, and other social relationships into sharper focus. A key study in this phase was conducted by Emmy Werner and Ruth Smith in Hawaii. While the research was already significant in the first phase, the longitudinal nature of this study, following participants over several decades, yielded findings and conclusions that remain relevant today. This second phase of research adopted a dynamic ecological systems approach. Rudder argued that resilience is not merely a protective shield, rather, it is an active process involving cognitive and emotional processing of environmental factors. Garmese and Werner highlighted the interactive balance between risk factors and protective factors. Garmese categorized protective factors into three primary groups: individual characteristics, family factors, and influences from the external environment. This classification aligns with Bronfenbrenner's ecological model, which emphasizes the importance of micro, meso, exo, and macro-level influences in contextual analysis. Rudder further refined this framework by introducing the concept of the stealing effect. This concept suggests that moderate stress is not necessarily detrimental to an individual's development. Instead, it can have a strengthening effect if the person believes they can cope with challenges. The rapidly growing literature on resilience underwent significant conceptual and methodological refinement during the 1990s. In their landmark article, Luther, Sacchetti, and Becker established that resilience can only be recognized when A. there is demonstrable significant risk or trauma in an individual's life, and B. there is simultaneous positive adaptation. Resilience is understood as a dynamic, context-dependent, and specific process rather than a stable personality trait. Concurrently, Maston proposed the ordinary magic thesis, asserting that resilience largely arises from the everyday functioning of normative developmental systems, such as attachment, self-regulation, and competence development, rather than from extraordinary abilities. In the early 2000s, the focus of resilience research shifted once again, placing interventions and prevention at the forefront. During this period, a key question emerged: could resilience be cultivated through targeted, evidence-based interventions? By this time, researchers had already identified various factors that contribute to resilient functioning, both within individuals and in their external environments. The interpretation of resilience increasingly evolved into a view of it as a dynamic process. Furthermore, by the 2000s, resilience research had revealed biological foundations. Certain genetic and neuroendocrine patterns, such as the 5-HTTL-PR gene variant and the regulation of the hypothalamic pituitary-adrenal axis, may help explain why some individuals recover more quickly after experiencing stress. These biological bases have reinforced the multi-level integration of resilience, aligning with the biopsychosocial perspective of human beings. The connection appears within the framework of psychological processes, neurobiological backgrounds, and social contexts. The intervention shift that emerged in the third phase focused on applying previously acquired experiences. Planned resilience-building programs and preventive interventions were implemented in various areas, including schools, child protection, and health psychology, with the aim of mitigating the effects of risk. During this phase, the concept of everyday magic, coined by Anne Maston, gained significant importance. This term refers to the general and natural aspects of resilient functioning, rather than viewing it as something exceptional. Maston emphasized that resilience should not be seen as a miracle, but rather as a natural outcome of typical human development. According to this perspective, most children possess a certain level of adaptive potential. The critical factor for its development is whether the systems that support growth, such as family, school, and broader community, function effectively. This optimistic approach has facilitated the integration of positive psychology into the field of resilience, focusing on enhancing strengths and competencies rather than addressing deficiencies. Concepts such as gratitude, hope, and optimism became central themes. In the third wave, resilience researchers aimed to create interventions that would make the development and reinforcement of resilient functioning more accessible to individuals and communities in need, particularly in areas such as post-traumatic recovery, mental health, and education. The fourth phase of resilience research, spanning from the 2010s to the present, has introduced a systems approach. Current studies focus on adaptability within a multidisciplinary framework, considering neurobiology, genetics, and cultural context. There is an increasing need to interpret and integrate findings from various scientific fields into a unified conceptual framework. As a result, eco-biopsychosocial models have emerged, linking psychological phenomena to neurobiological, sociological, and cultural dimensions. Since the 2010s, resilience research has placed greater emphasis on cultural contexts and social ecological systems. Michael Ungar, a leading advocate of the ecological approach, argues that resilience is not merely an individual trait, but also the capacity to access resources within one's social environment. This ecological perspective highlights that resilience is both a psychological and social phenomenon, aligning with the concept of social capital that operates through the network surrounding individuals. Cultural research on resilience demonstrates that positive outcomes, often defined as goals to be achieved, are inherently culturally determined. What is considered adaptive in one context may be viewed as deviant in another. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and haven't explored the other videos on our channel yet, now is the perfect time to check them out. Please consider following us, liking our videos, and sharing them with others to help us reach a wider audience. We also welcome your comments and feedback. Let's grow together!